Well, the end of August, last week, Saturday. Haven't done an update, it's a long time. I said I better do a quick one before the season comes. All the flowers had flowered, a little bit of ornaments there. Taking the garlic out. Wasn't a great garlic spot. I think I put them too close and probably not deep enough. But the grapes have done great this first year for them. I think they might almost make it right across before the season's out. Got about a month before we're ready to toast. And I've been pulling onions. There's a few that'll just give a little bit more time. They're pretty well done. They're leaning over, turning yellow. Flower bed has been tremendous. Looks really good. Pat has kept care of it. She's weeded it. There's still a few things flowering around, as you can see. And that is a bee haven in there. Some hostas I planted that seem to be doing okay. On the raised garden, the Jerusalem artichoke. We tried to eat one. We didn't have too much success. Probably just the way we were cooking it. The basil, corinda, kale, Brussels sprouts got eaten a little bit by, all the stuff got eaten by a giant groundhog. But overall, got a good mix of things. Some things will come back next year, and some I'll transplant into the greenhouse in the next couple of weeks. Over here we have the parsnips, carrots, pear tree, but no production of that yet. And I think that's gooseberry. Some beets were able to make it, and I put a little flower bed in here inside the plastic greenhouse. Planted some arugula that was grown in my containers. The leeks are coming okay. Tomato plants, you can see in this end, it's really wet in this end because the water works its way down from this area here right into it, so it doesn't get as much, gets too wet. Basil has been just tremendous. I've pinched it off several times. Pat's taken quite a lot. I forgot the name of that plant. But anyways, it's grown well. Cut it off and still came back, so looks like it's about to go to seed. So I got carrots in here. I haven't whippersnippered here for a few days. That's one thing I've been lacking is the whippersnipping. Pat cut these off the first year, but at least one grew. A deer did get in and do a scalping on it. Ever-bearing tomatoes are coming. Though I had some in here that were all, smothered by weeds. I cleaned it out. 2 tomato plants did okay, except for Chippy the squirrel's been eating them on us. The rhubarb came out really well. And this is my radish garden. I just successfully kept on planting more in here. And in here I cleaned out most of it, and I just planted kale and Swiss chard on the end. I'll probably have this loaded with Swiss chard and kale for the winter. They're pretty hardy stuff. I took some lettuces and put on this side of it, kale on the front, and this tomato plant. Threw it in here, it was a leftover, done really well. And the fig tree has been, well, take over. So I cut off quite a few limbs, tips the ends. This guy put it in about a month ago, and she just took off. But I just let it grow. I never really let the production of tomatoes take place. And a little bit of radish in here, leeks, sage. I should mention I put an extra, I'm just getting ready to put potentially another little storage shed for my tractor for the winter. And got the roads pretty well done. Everything on the outside here I fenced this year all the way up. And out back, my food forest garden. Greenhouse looking okay. Keeping the deer out. I had some sawdust from Alice Grant. Cleaned up a lot of stuff there. Inside this greenhouse I got some onions drying. Took that from the kitchen when we renovated the kitchen. Thought it was a great idea. Just put it on that little thing and I can rotate it around. The lemon and the orange trees are doing okay. I took those from seed this winter. Tomato plants, and I got some peppers in here. Really struggled because the acidity is still quite high. And I just put in compost, mixed this all in, threw in some arugula, lettuces, red lettuce, and some Swiss chard. Just see whether I can get them in before next month. And then the tomato plants on the other side is, I think that's not Brussels sprouts, broccoli. Got some cabbage here. Cabbage worm got at these guys pretty good. I've sprayed a couple times, but they're mean little flowers. Anyways, out back, I put in a grape, 4 plants got from PEI. They're supposed to be table grapes. You can see how poorly the pumpkins did in this soil here. It's all clay. I transplanted 8 blueberry plants from down in the raspberries up here. Hopefully they'll do okay. A couple of cedar trees here. That will be an opening area. And I just put in, because this did so poorly, I threw in these beans about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks ago, and just let them grow. They're going to be a cover crop, really. I just bury them after. So this is what I want to try to get to. Took about 50 bags, no, not 50, 30 bags to do this, the 25-liter bags of soil. I just threw it in. I had some stuff growing here. It wasn't doing anything, so I threw it in. And the ever-bearing strawberries here, the ones I bought from Bessie's. And these are the ones I grew for myself. They seem to be doing just as good. Bessie's a little different style, I guess. And up here I'm planting more a raspberry row, blueberries, and there's a chokecherry tree back there, and a couple of the cedars. There's an apple from seed last year, and various things. Oh yeah, Jess gave me some Egyptian walking onions, some comfrey, and I've planted some of these in here. This is a white walnut, I think they called it. So I'm calling that my Robert Fanjoy tree. I'll put a little sign down for him. Robert passed away here this year from Alzheimer's. Another apple tree, doing pretty well. And this is gooseberries as well. Soil's terrible, but it seemed to be trying to survive. And the same thing with the Jerusalem artichoke out here. They've struggled all this time, but they're trying to survive. And I'll mend the soil probably as the next year, coming at the end of this year. Another apple tree right there. And I think that this is my last apple tree right there. So overall, happy about where things are. Got a lot of work done, and I got to end everything off. My wife doesn't like, I love the name. Come on, someone tell me that it's a great name. I thought it'd be called the Horny Bear Gardens. And she said, no. And I said, look at this guy. He's the Horny Bear. Come on, man. As Joe Biden would say.